When the sleek black envelope slid under my door, I almost missed it. Embossed in silver lettering were the words, "You are cordially invited to participate in an exclusive escape room experience. A game of shadows awaits." There was no return address, just a date, time, and coordinates instead of a traditional location. I called my friends, Mark, Lisa, and Jenny, to see if they'd received the same mysterious invitation. They had. Excitement overshadowed any suspicion. We were all fans of thrill-seeking adventures and had tackled numerous escape rooms together. This one seemed like the ultimate challenge. The night arrived, and we drove to the provided coordinates, which led us to an old, abandoned building on the outskirts of town. The structure loomed against the night sky, its windows darkened, and the surrounding area eerily silent. A single light flickered above a heavy metal door. "This must be it," Mark said, trying to sound enthusiastic despite the unsettling atmosphere. We approached the door, and it creaked open on its own. Inside, dimly lit candles lined a narrow hallway, casting dancing shadows on the peeling wallpaper. We entered cautiously, and the door slammed shut behind us. Jenny jumped. "It's just for effect," Lisa assured her, though her voice wavered. Ahead, a large room awaited, empty except for a table holding 4 ornate masks and a vintage tape recorder. I pressed play. A distorted voice crackled through, "Welcome, players, to the game of shadows. Put on your masks, and let the game begin." We exchanged uneasy glances but decided to proceed. After all, this was supposed to be an adventure. Masks donned, a hidden door slid open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. We hesitated but descended together. The stairs led to a dimly lit chamber adorned with antiquated medical equipment and walls covered in cryptic symbols drawn in what looked like dried blood. A timer projected onto the wall began counting down from 60 minutes. The voice returned, "Find the key to escape, or become part of the collection." Suddenly, metal grates slammed over the exits. Panic set in as we realized this was no ordinary escape room. The air grew thick with the metallic scent of fear. We sprang into action, searching the room for clues. Mark examined the medical instruments while Lisa and Jenny scoured the walls. I approached a surgical table in the center, its surface stained and rusted. An old diary lay upon it, filled with incoherent scribbles and sketches of human anatomy. "Guys, over here," I called out. As they gathered around, a chilling sound echoed, a low, sinister laugh reverberating through hidden speakers. "Time is ticking," the voice taunted. "Will you make the cut?" Suddenly, a panel in the wall slid open, revealing a narrow passage. Without options, we ventured inside, the walls closing in as we moved deeper. The passage led to another room, this one resembling a twisted nursery with broken toys and cribs lined against the walls. Jenny gasped, pointing to names scrawled above each crib, names of missing persons reported in the news over the past year. A sense of dread washed over us. "We need to get out of here now," Lisa urged, her eyes wide with terror. A blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. It was Mark. We turned to see him being pulled through a trapdoor in the floor by gloved hands. We rushed to grab him, but it was too late. The door slammed shut, leaving only a pool of fresh blood seeping through the cracks. Hysterical, Jenny began pounding on the walls. "This isn't happening," she cried. The distorted voice returned, mocking us, "Sacrifices must be made. The game demands it." Desperation fueled our search for an exit. We found a code etched into a doll's forehead, which unlocked a hidden cabinet containing a rusty key. Clutching it, we retraced our steps, hoping it would open the grates that trapped us. Back in the initial chamber, we found Mark, or what was left of him, posed grotesquely on the surgical table, his chest carved open, organs meticulously arranged around him. Lisa vomited, and Jenny collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The timer showed 15 minutes remaining. Overwhelmed by horror, we knew we had to focus to survive. With trembling hands, I inserted the key into the main door's lock. It turned, but the door wouldn't budge. The voice laughed again. Did you really think it would be that easy? The lights flickered and went out, plunging us into darkness. In the pitch black, our senses heightened. Stay close, I whispered. We huddled together, inching forward when a spotlight suddenly illuminated the center of the room. There stood a figure dressed in a surgeon's gown, face obscured by a plague doctor's mask. "Welcome to the final round," he announced, his voice now clear and chillingly human. "Only one of you can leave. Choose who it will be." He tossed a scalpel onto the floor between us. "You are insane," Lisa screamed. He tilted his head. "Perhaps. But the game must have its winner." The door behind him swung open, revealing a path to freedom. Jenny picked up the scalpel, her eyes darting between us and the masked man. "We can't play his game," I said firmly. "We have to work together." But fear had consumed her. "I have a daughter," she whispered. "I have to get back to her." Before I could react, she lunged at Lisa. They struggled, the blade flashing as shadows danced around them. A scream pierced the air as Lisa fell, clutching her throat as blood poured through her fingers. "Jenny, what have you done?" I cried. She backed away, the scalpel slipping from her hands, her face a mask of horror. The masked man began a slow clap. "Well done. You may leave." Overcome with rage and grief, I charged at him. He sidestepped effortlessly, causing me to stumble. Now, he chided. "Rules are rules." Ignoring him, I grabbed the scalpel from the floor and faced Jenny. "We can still get out together," I pleaded. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Footsteps echoed as the masked man advanced. "Time's up," he declared. In a final act of defiance, I hurled the scalpel at him. It grazed his mask, cracking it and revealing a glimpse of his eye, cold, devoid of humanity. Alarms blared, and the building shook. "You've ruined the game," he shouted, his calm demeanor shattered. Seizing the moment, I grabbed Jenny's hand, and we sprinted toward the open door. We emerged into the night, the building ablaze behind us. Sirens wailed as police cars raced toward the scene. Exhausted, we collapsed on the pavement. The authorities swarmed us, and I tried to explain the horrors inside. Days later, the news reported the discovery of multiple bodies in the charred ruins, but the masked man was never found. Jenny couldn't live with what she'd done and turned herself in. I was left haunted by the experience, the twisted game orchestrated by a madman still at large. The game of shadows had ended, but I knew he was out there, waiting to play again.